They are bonded together through trauma. A series of trauma bonds that probably go generations deep here in the St. Louis area has a whole group of men, knowingly and unknowingly, connected and bonded and binded together in a group of very unhealed, very sick, psychopathic, immature, unhealed men. What they do is they hate on women, they abuse women, they are narcissists, and they narcissistically treat and seek out healed and healing women to abuse. Now, this person is a neighbor, well, was a neighbor. Now he's just someone who lives a few houses down or a couple houses over. And I know I refuse to interact with because of the level of abuse that this person decisively chose to inflict upon me because of my resistance to get close to him. So I was very friendly with him. I tried to work with him on healing. We both seem to have some shamanistic characteristics, or at least we are both possibly past life druids. And we had a lot of herbalism and even future plans in common. And so, I befriended him thinking, that spiritually I would be able to grow with this person. And we worked on one project together, which is a permaculture project, where we did a front lawn conversion on my property and on his cousin's property, the house that he's renting, which is two houses down from where I live. And we worked on this project together, and that whole relationship was a total failure. The project was deplorable. I was basically used for my energy and my own resources to help him to actually accomplish his project. But he threw me a few bones to suffice me in order to entice me to help him accomplish the project. So anyway, what he did is after we were done with the project, he tried to include some sort of humiliation tactics about the level of quality on my end from that project. So I've been through a lot with this particular person, and what you see in the video before, which is actually duplicating now, is that he came and emptied his garbage this morning. So here's the thing: is every time I'm outside, this person will surface. This person, I've called him out on it before. He is continuously trying to have interactions with me. He wants to bump into me often. Every time that I'm outside, if he's in the area or available or whatever, if he's watching and he can catch it, he wants to be outside. He wants to be in my face. He wants me to see him. He wants to have an interaction, but I don't want to have interactions with him. So when I cut him off, when I realize this is not a friend, he's not my friend, he's not anyone I can have a friendship with, and he's someone I need to get away from immediately, I cut him off. I cut him off cold turkey, and I think it triggered him to become very psychotic towards me. So not only is he obsessed with my energy, he's another one of them. He's obsessed with my energy, but he's aggressive and he's hostile and he's a different kind of psychotic. So what he's been doing is there was one particular time I was in the back alley walking my dog, and I found some nails in the back of a neighbor's house, and I pulled them out and I was doing a video. I understood, I completely recognized what those nails were. That was black magic or some sort of ritual done on the adjacent property from his house. And I pulled them out. I knew it was black magic. I broke the curse, broke the spell, and removed those nails. And when I was leaving from that area, when I was finished making that video clip, we were walking back home, my dog and I. That's when I encountered Sean in his backyard. And his dog and my dog, they just kind of went at it. Although I had my dog on a leash, his dogs were not on a leash. They were in their yard. So it's, dogs are just going to snare and growl and whatever, bark at each other. And that's what they did. So I have a pit bull that is just about not quite half my size, maybe half my size, and extremely strong and powerful. So it was a little difficult for me to just pull the dog and walk away. But the funny thing is my phone was recording. The whole thing was on video. And I said, watch out. I said, my neighbor who's been paid to watch me is watching me, or something like that. I got to go. I'm being watched, something like that. And you can see me holding on to the dog, trying to hold the phone and trying to keep it all together while the dogs go at it. And Sean actually grabbed a brick or like a piece of, I can't remember if it was a brick or a piece of cinder block, but he was threatening to actually throw it at me, not even at the dog, but at me. And I was just like, wow, like, why? What would even possess you? What would even possess you to guard yourself like that? I couldn't understand it. Like, I was seeing who he really was all along. You know what I mean? And I never saw any of this during our so-called friendship. And I'm glad I perceived it when I did, because if I would have gotten closer to him and gotten to know him, knowing that he had these capabilities, or that he could be this kind of person, I would have never gotten close to him. Anyway, I wasn't afraid of him. I was repulsed, and I don't know. I don't want. Maybe I was in denial, but I don't want to believe that he would actually throw that brick at me. But like, he's twice my size, and he's a man. Like, how could you be afraid of me? You know what I mean? So I know it was just to intimidate me, and it was a narcissistic, abusive tactic to put me in fear. And so there's been several occasions where I've seen this guy working in tandem with a guy on the other side of my house, doing some kind of ritual work. So if I would be outside, they would both be outside. All of a sudden, it's like they would text each other or call each other and say, "She's out there. Get out there. Let's go." Now, yes, I imagine that. It could be in my imagination, but it adds up to everything that they do. How is it that they both end up outside at the exact same time in the back neighborhood while I'm in the back neighborhood? So I'll have one of them on my right and one of them on my left. And everywhere that I move, they move. So if I'm in the center of the yard, they're in the center of their yard. They're sandwiching me. So I knew that they were doing a ritual on me. So I immediately dropped what I was doing when I realized this and went inside. And there have been two other times, two other occasions that they tried to trap me outside doing this kind of ritual work. And I'm too smart for that. I know what I'm doing when as soon as I recognize that they're both on my side and they're trying to align themselves with me, that's it. I go the other way. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to allow that, and I'm not going to fall into any of their traps. I know what kind of people they are. I know that they are in a cult. They're not occultists. They are in a cult. Very different. They are in a trauma cult. They do sex rituals. They have male on male same sex rituals, and they intertwine black magic with very open, very toxic, trauma bonded relationships that use sex and all root chakra based, low vibes. Anyway, so here in this video, you actually see him this morning. He comes to throw the trash out, and my dogs are in the yard, and I know that he's shown previously aggression to my dogs, and he's thrown things. I've caught him throwing things. He's thrown what looked like it might have been a dusted flower. It was an echinacea flower that had some kind of powder all over it. He threw that in my yard. There is no echinacea growing in my yard or in the neighbor's yard or in the alley or in the neighbor's yard on the other side. So I don't know where the echinacea flower come from. It was a very large flower. It was the size of my hand, and it was very firm and fresh. It had just been picked. And what is the white powder that was all over it? So I knew that he had probably sent something poisonous into my yard. Not to mention the location of where I found it is in an area that could only be accessed through from his yard or the neighbor's yard, which he would be trespassing into from his yard. So it's clear that it come from him. And so I threw it back in his yard. So I threw the flower into his yard. I did a return to sender, and I confronted him about it. I told him to stop throwing shit in my yard. I know about the flower, and to stay the F away from me, and to leave me the F alone, and don't fucking throw shit to my dogs, and stop trying to call my dogs, because I keep catching him whistling to my dogs, trying to get my dogs to pay him attention, to come do what he wants to do. And every now and then when I let my dogs out, I can see my dogs reacting to him, trying to get their attention. So I've actually hung blue tarps on the fence between my yard and his yard to block his view so he can't see us. So even if he can hear us, he can't see us. So now he goes out of his way. He'll have to actually come out and throw garbage away to have access to see us. So that's what he was doing this morning. He could hear us out there, but he couldn't see us. So I was in the house, but I was watching, and the dogs were outside by themselves. He could hear them, but he probably couldn't see them. So he went, threw the garbage out, and on his way from the garbage can to walk past my gate or my yard to go back to his yard, he leaned into where my dogs were, not over the fence, but towards the fence to where my dogs were, and he intentionally blew out a whole fucking nostril full of snot at my dogs. And my dogs were like, "I'm telling mommy." And they ran to me. Like, "I'm telling on you." But I stood there and watched the whole thing. And that's why I collected the video from the camera system. So I'm gonna replay that video a few times and just kind of zoom in so you can see exactly what he was doing. This is Sean. He lives in, let's see, let me do the math. He lives 2 houses over to my right. Yeah, I'm not gonna put his address on there. He lives 2 houses over to the right. And this person has been harassing me, disrespecting me, aggressive to me. I think my brother paid him to do these things to me. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Anyway, here's evidence. I mean, I'm not even in the yard. I haven't even seen him. I don't want to see him. I don't have anything to do with him. I cut him off over a year ago, and this man is still harassing me, still attacking me, still very vocal about him hating the fact that I don't want anything to do with him. I mean, when I cut these men off, they absolutely lose their mind and go crazy. And so here is just more evidence of this fool going crazy, and I'm going to attach the other videos of him going crazy throughout this video. So check this out. Look at Sean going crazy this morning.